My name is Jacob Corsaro. I grew up in Palmdale, California, and I am a practicing Catholic.
Hi, my name is Sarah Gamblin. I grew up in Marin County, and my current relationship with religion is I go to church once in a while when I can, and I believe that there is a God and He is good.
My name is Kyle Palazzolo. I was raised in a little town called Lockton in the suburbs of Los Angeles, between Glendale and Pasadena. And my current view on religion is non-religious, which is different than atheism or agnosticism. It's simply non-religious.
Well, it's hard to say because I've only gone to Catholic school until coming to Cal Poly, so I've always been around people who are Catholic. That being said, I have met people who aren't from where I grew up. I'd say largely though it's a pretty heavy Catholic community, or at least Christian. But yeah, there are others. It's just not as strong.
To be honest, there wasn't too much. There's either you're Catholic, you're Jewish, or you're some type of Christian. One of my best friends was Jewish. I went to a few bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs and even one b'nai mitzvah.
Where I grew up, we have a good amount of religious diversity, if only because we have racial diversity. A lot of Armenian and Korean populations, which are not Catholic, and some of them are Christian, but they're a distinct branch of Christianity that is separate from Roman Catholicism, which I was raised as.
As I've said, I went to a Catholic school, so I've been raised with it my whole life. My parents both taught at my schools, and K through 8 and then high school. And so I've always been around it. We've always went to church every Sunday, and so it's always been a part of me in everyday life. I think for anybody, being raised any religion is what makes it such a big part of your life. It's difficult to say whether or not I would have found it at some point, but I definitely believe that I have made my faith my own. So my parents gave it to me, but it's my choice to continue with it. If that makes sense.
I went to church with my parents a lot. My dad is actually a Christian Scientist and was kind of like hated Catholics for a while, yet he married one. And then my grandparents are super religious. They go to church every single day. And I just kind of like grew up around that whole Catholic vibe.
I think I would definitely have to be more private about it. I know that there are areas of the world where it's not very widely accepted or is even oppressed. And I've thought to myself what it would be like to live there, and it would definitely be a much more difficult experience. But I would like to think that I would still stay true to myself.
Different, but I feel like if I was anywhere else in the country that wasn't welcome to Catholicism, I might not be ashamed of it, but be a little not as like, oh hey, I'm Catholic, if someone asked. I would just be like, oh yeah, it's one of these things, because Catholics get hated on for a bunch of things.
If I were not in California and was in a more, well for me it would be a religiously stringent area, it would be, I think, fairly different, although at the same time it's kind of a nature-nurture argument. I like to think that as a free-thinking individual, I would maintain the same personality despite how I was raised, but it's really impossible to say. But at the same time, being raised in a more strict area could have encouraged more rebelliousness. So ultimately, I think that things would have been different, but the end result would have been the same.
This is interesting. There's a lot of things that I'm not 100% sure about, and as bad as it is, I haven't totally formed hard, fast opinions on some of them. But there are things that I think come mostly from doctrines and weren't ever actually discussed by Jesus himself, and so those are things I have a little bit harder time with. For instance, things like gay marriage. I know that Jesus preaches a lot about accepting everybody, and he accepts all kinds of people that were outcasts at the times. And I think that that doctrine comes more from the historical context of the culture rather than anything Jesus ever taught.
The whole gay marriage thing, I understand where they're coming from. Like, I've read the Bible and all this stuff, and there's the whole, it's like, I can't remember where it is in the Bible, but it's like Leviticus or something like that, but it also tells you not to do a bunch of other things that, like, Catholics have been doing for ages. It's just like, it's kind of outdated. Same thing with birth control. Some people need it for medical reasons, and they're still, like, even anything prohibiting the natural cycle of a woman's body, they don't want to be interrupted.
In Catholicism, the main tenets I disagree with are those that encourage blind faith, which was prevalent especially in the scholastic era and kind of recently more. I agree especially with the love and compassion. However, I feel like that's overcome by the hatred that's also encouraged, or perceived to be encouraged, by religion and religious texts. And that's kind of my biggest issue with it, is the misinterpretation or the forced interpretation, where people are told that there is one truth to religion. On a more personal level, I simply do not wish to be religious, because for me religion is something that is born of necessity. And at an age I realized that I did not need religion, and without the necessity, I had no reason to pursue it. And I've been frankly happier without it, as it is a bit of a suppressing faith.
I love it.
I go sometimes.
Personal, free, and happiness.